Howdy and welcome to Whiskey Whims with me, Stuart. We have Ardbeg 10 versus Ardbeg 5-year-old. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Yeah, Ardbeg 5 versus Ardbeg 10. Hello and welcome to Whiskey Whims with me, Stuart. Sorry for the stupid intro. I've been watching a lot of American YouTubers. Not that I'm criticising them, but yeah, there's been a lot of people doing this Ardbeg 5 and Ardbeg 10. So it's probably the video that no one wants, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, Americans are quite loud. No, no dissing them there, but I thought I'd try and do my own take on American intros and American reviews. Anyway, we've got the Ardbeg 5. I'm going to get hate for this. The Ardbeg 5 and the Ardbeg 10-year-old. The Ardbeg 5 matured in Oloroso and bourbon casks, a mix. It's 47.4% ABV, non-chill filtered, and what we assume is no added colouring because it's quite a light whiskey, and also why would you add colouring to a whiskey that's going to be in a green bottle and no one's going to see it until they pour it. The Ardbeg 10, same situation, non-chill filtered, we don't know about the colouring, minimum 10 years on in the whiskey, and it's first fill and second fill bourbon cask that it has been matured in. 46% ABV, so it's a little lower ABV percentage wise, obviously higher age. The thing is, it's not just the 10 has got 5 years on the Ardbeg 5, it's not just a kind of older brother, if you will, because the Ardbeg 5 is Oloroso as well, whereas the 10 is just bourbon. It'd be kind of good to see an Ardbeg 5, a younger version of this, to see what it's like, because peat usually responds well to younger whiskies. The older a peated whiskey is, the more it loses its kind of peat characteristics, its TCP, its medicinal values and all that. The phenol content almost drops, if you will. Anyway, down to the phenol content, both have, I believe, around 50 to 55 ppm of peat. So that's parts per million in the whiskies. That's basically the smoking of the barley. And what else can we say? The Ardbeg Beastie RRP round about £39. It's the cheapest I saw it. And the Ardbeg 10, I've seen it as low as £30 in some supermarkets, but usually £35 to £45, with 45 being the general RRP. So the 5 is slightly cheaper than the 10, but only by £6 or so. We'll get down to the nose and get down to the tasting. I have tried to do this blind. I've got two Ardbeg glasses, which I poured earlier. They're the exact same glass. I can't remember which is which, to be honest, but by looking at it and looking at the colour of the whiskies, I feel like this one in my left hand is going to be the wee Beastie, because the colour. It's got a little hue to it, whereas the one in my right hand, which is probably the 10, is a lot lighter. So I'm going to say that's wee Beastie for now, and it's pretty much blown the blind experiment out of the water. I should have got coloured glasses. So yeah, we'll start with this one on my left. It's a nice nose. There's nothing wrong with this nose whatsoever. It's lovely. There's a barbecue smoke, a barbecue fire or whatever. There's a kind of grassy smell which alludes to a younger whiskey, although that's quite grassy as well. There's also a burnt kind of sea salt caramel almost, or salty caramel, sea salt caramel, whatever. But it's kind of burnt, it's like burnt caramel. It's a little earthy, a little dusty, and possibly nutty as well on the nose. The glass on my right, which I'm assuming, like I said, 10. Yeah, this has to be the 10. There's lemongrass, it's more vanilla, probably an impact from the bourbon. Yeah, it's a lot creamier. Still grass, there's some iodine to go along with the peat, that kind of medicinal value, but not too overpowering. A burnt out campfire, so there's a similarity between the two with regards to barbecue, campfire, smokiness. Yeah, about that has to be the 10. I think I'll know for sure once I get down to the tasting. Yeah. Whew. Right, just clearing my passage. The 5-year-old, which I believe is a 5-year-old. I honestly don't know which is which, but from the colour in it, it's got to be the 5-year-old. I mean, any idiot could tell that. So the 5-year-old, it's good. It's rather salty, but nothing too overpowering, nothing too distracting. Once again, there's like those barbecue flavours, still carrying on from the burnt caramel, not as sweet, but there's like a burnt savoury object or food or whatever. It's something, yeah, you've cooked something on the barbecue and you've burnt it and it's nice and crispy. Maybe like burnt bacon, but it's not got that bacon taste. Probably burnt ham, more like ham. We'll go with burnt ham. I know bacon and ham are pretty much the exact same thing, but I'm trying to think. Maybe burnt steak, kind of umami, bitter. Yeah, we'll go with burnt steak. It's like yeah, it's like you've got a juicy steak and you've burnt the outside of it. It's nice and crispy. There's some smoked wood, quite dry wood. It is quite drying. There's also a tang to it, a little bit of funk. I don't know what that could be, but yeah, it's overall not too overpowering with the saltiness, bitterness, but it is quite a bitter whiskey. I probably should get some water. Yeah, we'll go get some water. Alright, I've got some water now. We'll move on to the what I suspect the 10 most definitely is a 10. So the palate. What a stark contrast in the palates. There's still that bitterness, but it's nowhere near as powerful as the 5. I don't know if it's because it's younger or what. But the flavours in the 10 seem more balanced, more coherent or cohesive. So you've got citrus, you've got lemon and lime, you've got a dark chocolate flavour, you've got more kind of earthy peat there. Smoke. There's an Ardbeg characteristic there, Ardbeg smoke. There's espresso, a definite coffee flavour. There's seaweed or sea salt or something. It is quite salty still, but I feel like the 5-year-old is much more bitter with regards to the 10. I have to say, when I first had this, it wasn't as well rounded as it is now. It's a lot better in the glass now, and I think I'm just past the shoulder. Yeah, the 10 marries well better. The flavours are definitely more balanced than the 5. The 5's still balanced, but the 10 on the palate is, for me, the winner on the palate. We'll get down to the finish. The 5. Yeah, the finish is it's long. There's a kind of mint, possibly peppermint on the finish. There's more more kind of bitterness, saltiness. There's a little dried fruit. I don't know what it is. Don't ask me what it is, but there's something kind of fruity, dried. It's not fresh. It's almost quite stale, like a stale fruit almost, but it's a dried fruit, if that makes sense. It's dehydrated. Yeah, and probably more barbecue. Definitely, there's more. This is like a consistent theme with this whiskey. It just seems to be barbecue from start to finish. It's lovely. It's nice. We'll go to the finish on the Ardbeg 10. Right. Finish on the Ardbeg 10 is long, same as the Ardbeg Wee Beastie. I think the ABV is not that evident in both. I mean, initially the nose was kicking my butt with the Ardbeg 5, but I think that's just because these are my first whiskies from being at work, so the first whiskies are always quite a bit harsh. But anyhow, the Ardbeg 10, the finish is long. It's drying, quite bitter. There's dark chocolate, like kind of dark cocoa. There's lemon again, earthy peat. So that's what's missing, I believe, from the Ardbeg 5. It's quite lemon, quite citrusy, and I think that's the defining characteristics of the Ardbeg 10 is that citrus. There's still smoke, as with the Ardbeg 5. There's still a kind of smoke. There's also like a seasoning in the Ardbeg 10. I think actually, if I'm correct in saying, when I reviewed it, I said rosemary and thyme. Something like that. There's like a garnish, maybe coriander or something. There's something herbal there. Which one? Let's just get down to this. So, nose, I would give the winner. I'd say the Ardbeg 5 wins the nose for me. I just love that sea salt caramel, the burntness on it. I mean, the nose on the Ardbeg 10 is lovely, fine enough, but it's just creamy, it's just bourbon, it's just vanilla. It's not that I don't like it, it's just for me the nose is better on the Wee Beastie. The palate is definitely goes to the Ardbeg 10, and so does the finish. It's just got a more balanced array of flavours, and there are more flavours for me. This Wee Beastie is quite consistent. It's burnt barbecue smoke, quite consistent throughout. But I don't think I would buy the 5 again, to be honest. Actually, is it worth it? It's good value. Maybe £30. I know crying over £9 or moaning over £9 seems like a lot, but I don't think it's worth £39. I don't think it's worth £40. It is only 5-year-old. I mean, yeah, is it? I don't know. It's hard nowadays. It's hard. I don't know. For me, I'd buy this constantly if it was £30. I think it's the quality of the whiskey is worth £30. Let's forget it's 5-year-old. Let's forget it's Ardbeg. The quality of it's £30 for me. Would I recommend it? I'd recommend trying it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend buying a bottle. If you've got the Ardbeg 10, just stick with the 10. The 10's fantastic. It's the better whiskey. It's the more well-rounded whiskey. For me, more complex. And you can never go wrong with the 10, really, can you? And with the 5, I wouldn't buy it again. Wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend trying it, but I wouldn't recommend buying it. I don't think it's worth it, really. With the price, I think it'd be good at £30. It's still an enjoyable whiskey, and I'll still drink it. I'm not ungrateful for having it or ungrateful for buying it, whatever. But it's still the 10's a far superior whiskey here. Let's not beat around the bush. For me, the 10's superior, and it's not because it's older. It is just because of the flavours. I think I've rambled on a bit much. What else have I got to say? Is it a whiskey win? Because I'm not going to review this because I've already pretty much reviewed it here. It's a whiskey. Oh, I mean, with all those 3 defining ratings, would I give it a whiskey win? I couldn't say for sure. I think I want to spend more time with it. I want to see if it opens up more. It is just past the shoulder, but that should still be enough to give it the time it needs. So, whiskey win or whiskey bin? I think presently it's a whiskey bin, especially when you've got the Ardbeg 10. It's not obviously favourable to compare a whiskey to another whiskey in a sense, but when this is from the same distillery and they're releasing this pretty much just for £6 more, this is worth it. if they were to remove this from the range, I'd be definitely peed off. They need to keep this. This is what's keeping me in love with Ardbeg. If they remove that, I'll be deeply hurt. And that's really all I've got to say on them. I've designed some t-shirts on Teespring. If anybody wants to look at them and maybe buy some and wear something, if you need something to spill something on, going to a Whisky festival, maybe don't want to wear a nice shirt, just wear my crappy designs. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I've been Stuart. This has been Whisky Whims. I'll see you later.